The USDA and the Obama administration proving themselves to be the true cowards on the issue of race. Now, I'm going to explain what I mean by that. I'm not just simply making a statement of opinion. It is based on fact. It's based on analysis. And let me tell you, this administration, the NAACP, and every news organization in the country who got it wrong on the case of Ms. Sherrod had better start thinking anew about who they are, what country they live in, and how in the world the American people are going to put up with them, and whether or not we will. I hope that a lot of people right now are rethinking their initial impulses and decisions about Shirley Sherrod. Attorney General Eric Holder among them, the Agriculture Secretary, the President of the United States, and all of his oh-so-clever advisors. These people who want to call us a nation of cowards when it comes to the issue of race need to, if I may paraphrase, get down on their knees and seek forgiveness. Now, I don't know if you pray for that. I don't know what you do. But, if you're going to be sanctimonious, it seems to me you need to find a mighty big altar because your hypocrisy and your irresponsibility is overwhelming. This White House has quickly shown they're the real cowards. We're going to get into all of that. And we want to know what you think. We want to hear from you. 877-55-DOBBS, 877-55-DOBBS. And new emails emerging from the left-wing JournoList episode. Yesterday, it was the left-wing plot to kill the Reverend Wright story during the presidential campaign to support the candidacy of Barack Obama. Today, it's about the plan to shut down Fox News and smear conservatives. Yesterday, smear conservatives as racist. Today, smear conservatives as Nazis as a strategy of the far-left plan to deny the truth and the public's right to know. This is becoming a national outrage. This is our national, liberal, lazy, lamestream, left-wing media at work, folks. And I got to tell you, if you aren't nauseous at what we are learning, then you're not paying attention. Where are the calls for an investigation? Where are the demands for an apology? Why isn't this story being covered by the principal news organizations of this country? And why are we already watching the left wing try to assemble a defense for their absolutely radical, repulsive behavior as propagandists rather than journalists? 877-55-DOBBS, 877-55-DOBBS. I got to say, I've never been so happy. Never been so happy as to say, I'm in talk radio. I got nothing to do with those news folks over there. I got nothing to do with them. Unbelievable. Now, there's some great news organizations and some great news people. There just aren't enough. But let's begin today with it's a tragic story of Shirley Sherrod, the USDA official who was forced to step down from the Department of Agriculture by the Obama administration. She says the White House directly interceded. And it turns out that the clip that was played was, quote unquote, out of context at an NAACP meeting. Well, we talked about this at length yesterday, and I can tell you, I'm one of the very few people, if not the only person in talk radio, who got the story right. The left was going hysterical. I mean, these people have gotten this, the left has become this sanctimonious reservoir of hypocrisy and pure flashpoint righteousness, that they are the only ones who can be the arbiter of what is racial, racist, and generally repugnant. The left uniquely qualified in the latter, but I have to say, this stuff has got to end. And the right going just as hysterical, In some ways, you could see they were salivating at the episode in the moment. I simply said that was an unfortunate story, devoid of context at the time. I mean, it was clear. And that it was not the time for a knee-jerk, reflexive, fire them because they are unholy and unworthy and impure and imperfect, which is becoming the hypocritical, absurd nonsense of the left. And don't get me started on the NAACP and Benjamin Jealous. Man. Oh, I mean, that's pretty powerful stuff. I mean, he is a tower of hypocrisy, a tower of duplicity as to the purpose of his organization and the way in which he is trying to wield power based on a legacy of civil rights courage that has become nothing less than a bludgeon for left-wing political and ideological strikes against their political opponents. A sad day for the NAACP and what it has stood for. And it is also a sad day for just most of the media. It was clear that we didn't have the full story on Shirley Sherrod. It was clear we didn't know enough. And it was clear that, for God's sake, the Agriculture Secretary didn't know enough to fire her instantly, out of hand. Who the hell does he think he is? And Shirley Sherrod says it was at the behest, my God, the behest of the White House. And you know why? Because they are using race as a political and ideological weapon, and doing so with full knowledge, which is even more callow and more cowardly and shameful than should be tolerated. It turns out the White House, the USDA, the NAACP, by the way, to their credit, has recanted. They've said they were wrong. How nice. How nice. Unbelievable. The USDA is rethinking their position. And the White House is denying, of course, that it had a damn thing to do with it. Shirley Sherrod just made it up, that she was asked to pull over to the side of the road by the White House. I mean, when we heard the more details today, think of these ugly, pitiful purveyors of the abuse of power. I mean, coming down on this woman like a ton of bricks. Now, I don't know if you've seen her or listened to her, and the woman admits that she was, when she was talking to that white farmer, who we learn over the course of almost a quarter of a century, she helped them so much that this man and his wife believe her to be their friend. And she was talking about the lessons of life and understanding it's not about race. It's about those who have and those who have not, and those who are powerful and those who are powerless. And in the midst of that important lesson, and by the way, we need to find out why we didn't have the full story too. Now, I don't know what happened with Andrew Breitbart. He is a terrific journalist. He does terrific work. But we did not have the whole story. And we need to find out why we did not have the whole story. I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation. I'm sure he was given only part of the story, and that's what he shared with us. But nonetheless, we need to have the full story. And this country has got to begin to understand that no mortal, and certainly not the NAACP, nor the Republican Party, or the Democratic National Committee, should be tolerated as the arbiter of what is racist. That should be left first to God, but to those who are not using race as a political weapon, or who are not making a living off of the issue of race